Don't start watching yet. We haven't started. Sure, the internet did, but we didn't say we were ready yet. Yes, you did. Well, close enough. We're getting there. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope everyone has their coffee made to their liking and enjoying it how they like to enjoy it. And, of course, how we like to enjoy it here is with nuns of you currently, and by just sitting back, having a topic to at least guide a conversation in and, maybe take it to other places as well. Like offline? Well, if we could all get our wishes come true, perhaps. But no, we're doing it here for all nuns of you, because ones of you might want to hang out. And, we're good to hang out with ones of people or nuns of people. We've done it our whole lives. A lot of times in the nuns, but hey, that's how it goes. But what we are talking about today is, of course, the fact that you have joined Chatty Coffee Crew on one of the mornings here that we are going to be talking about Concord 2. That's right. We have been seeing so much stuff starting to re-come out about Concord. And we don't mean the pet Concord videos where we feed our pet Concord. We actually got him out of his aquarium today strictly for this episode. Wish you didn't. Well, that's fair enough. Good enough point. But when we start seeing more and more entities and entertainment mediums and, just people in general guiding the conversation back to Concord, and it's being re-released as, in essence, Concord 2, whether it says it on the case or not. Concord 2, that's re-coming out. Well, you had us peaked at, let's sit back and laugh our asses off, because we're ready to not play it a second time. Why do you have it? Well, we got it after they pulled it from shelves. On the fucking shelves. Companies, you gotta be faster than that. We are so excited to not play Concord 2 the same way we didn't play Concord 1. Roblox shout out, huh? Yes, excellent. Someone likes Roblox, and that's terrific. A lot of people like it. It's not on our playlist, and it's not what this episode was going to be about, but hey, we'll let you guide the conversation. There's only so much Concord you can talk about not playing. In essence, the episode's over, but we just started it kind of, so we got this much coffee left. So, if you want to talk about Roblox, keep those ones of comments coming in. If not, we're going to pad out and fill the episode talking shit. I mean, talking about this new release that's coming out, Concord 2. So, you might be saying, what was that talking shit part? Well, don't worry about that. We're talking about games here, and whether it's a new iteration coming out, whether it's a remake, a remaster, or a second version of the same game because the first version didn't do so well, all right? The conversation can be guided to, why are they even trying to bring that game back in the first place? Well, I could answer you that with 400 million responses, and they would all entail, we spent $400 million on this shit, and we didn't make our money back. And you might be saying, well, PlayStation, I'm surprised. How could you not have held your space in that, hero market shooter when you have all of these games that are brand new that have been out with all these players like Overwatch 2's new season and that Marvel Heroes game's new season? How could Concord compete? Especially with the Overwatch. They probably still have thousands of players. Concord can't keep up with those numbers. Hell no. What Sony should have done is gotten bed with folks at Gearbox, right? And you might be saying, why would Sony want to get in bed with all those guys at Gearbox? Well, we could think of a couple of reasons why we would want to, but sorry, that's not what the show's about. The show's about Concord. And when PlayStation loves it enough to have it even start making the rounds and talks of being re-released, to us that's Concord 2. And we're super excited for it to come out and fail and us to laugh our asses off at all of the good content creators out there. Yeah, where are they today? I don't know. They start later. This is the morning. Wake up. Get some coffee. Oh, man. Yeah, it sucks, but, you go with kind of what's available. So, all of, these folks waiting around to not play this next iteration of Concord, now they're talking about it. And it's phenomenal because we, for real, are going to sit back and just enjoy if this does come to fruition, if it is true, because we're not looking into it. We don't even care. We didn't care enough to play the first version, okay? We don't care enough to play the second version of the first version, which does as part 2, okay? But it is just inherently funny to us that in order to recoup their cash and to recoup their shit, they're going to try and regurgitate Concord and re-put that shit out. That's ridiculous, man. God, at least reskin the assets and re-put the levels in a new game, tie some shitty story in like you did with Forspoken, and regurgitate that shit into the, gaming apparatus and let nuns of players touch that one either. Okay? You guys botched Concord, and now because your game is a joke, it seems like you want it to not be such, and like you wanted to make money off it in the first place. So you're like, oh hell, better re-release it. And to us, like we said, that's Concord 2, and that's okay. But, as we were saying, PlayStation would do well to get into bed with companies like Gearbox, so that Gearbox would stop making Borderlands iterations coming out, okay? And then they could revisit all of their successful titles like fucking Battleborn that released right in between Overwatch 2 and another big major release. Great idea. It's like, oh, Blizzard doesn't know what they're doing. There's no way in hell that, we can't compete with them. Better drop fucking Battleborn. Okay. We liked Battleborn just fine. We did the demos and the alphas or betas that they released for both Overwatch 2 and Battle of the Born. Okay? They both came out within a week of each other. There's another big title that came out right at that same time. Battleborn was doomed for failure from its inception and its launch. Games like Concord were doomed because they kind of sucked. Okay? A lot of aspects might have looked okay to folks, but it seems like PlayStation got more involved in wanting to do a week-to-week cartoon, okay, anime, whatever, story. Who the fuck put those people on the payroll? Holy cow. Who convinced Sony to pay them to shit out weekly iterations of an online video game comic book story? In essence, which is what it would be. No, it's anime. You call it whatever you want. Sony called it a wise investment. And they thought it was such a wise investment that now there's rumors it's coming out again so that they can repeat their massive, successful launch. And everything that was tied around Concord. We're excited. We are excited for the content to come out and release. We've already enjoyed seeing a couple content of the creators talking about all of the different aspects of Concord being re-released. And let's be honest, that's Concord 2. They pulled that shit. It's gone. You put it back out, that's Concord 2. Concord 1 was obliterated and eradicated. Now, there was a Doom back in the day, and you made a re-release of Doom. You called them both Doom. That's fine. You can call your game Concord, but it's Concord 2. Yeah, this is the first one. We're going to make it look the exact same. Well, that's fine, because you recalled all the discs and are fucking sitting on them anyway. except this one and whoever else got one. Yeah, well, that value is going to go straight down. No collectability to it. Just like there was no playability to the original game. Okay, you've evened the playing field, Sony. Congratulations. This won't be worth ones of extra dollars. No one wants it. The only reason we wanted it is because we couldn't have it. We want what we can't have. Like success and fame and, a fortune. Fuck. All right, fair enough point. But Sony would have done really well. PlayStation would have done extremely well teaming up with Gearbox, stopping them from making shit like Borderlands, or one of the iterations of it. Okay, you can make Borderlands. We don't need one every other year. And they should have teamed up with them, recycled and reused a lot of their assets from games like Battleborn, and start teaming up with companies. It's gotten to the point now where so many major party studios are releasing games and online experiences and massive multiplayer online, endeavors and things of that nature that rely on that recurring and retained player base, all right, that they really would do well teaming up in many regards and not each of them shitting out a separate iteration of a take on that genre and that type of game. There are so many in existence that have been in existence that are inherently relying on that longevity to maintain their status, okay? It's not a Super Mario Brothers 3 game that you put in and do a run through and play it, and you can go back and play a Super Mario Brothers 3. No, it's like, the ever-evolving, ever-changing, new characters. In the case of Concord, what they're wanting to do, a new story that no one would give a shit about, except for the person who was getting paid to make it, and their circle of friends that they were like, hey, look what I made. And they're like, yeah, that story sucks, but I'm not going to tell you to your face because you're kind of my friend. Well, we're going to tell you to... Well, all right, let's be honest, no one's watching this, but if the maker of that anime were showing it to us and we didn't like it, which we might have, okay, but if we gave it a fair chance and we didn't like it, and they were like, hey, look, Sony's paying me to make a weekly iteration of shit for this game Concord, I'd be like, that's cool. Why is it tied into a game? And you would be like, Sony's paying me to make iterations of this. Yeah, but again, you can have a game based off of a movie. You can have a game based off of a series. You can have a series based off of a game. You can have a movie based off of a game. The minute that you start muddying the waters, okay, of an online recurring steadily, constantly changing story, all right, in the realm, okay, not like how Overwatch does it, where they got their comic books and they got their stories and unnecessarily even more backstory to the backstory that we didn't even give a shit about the original backstory for. You can have your backstory, okay, Overwatch protected or fought against these guys because of reason X, Y, or Z. We don't need to know who Soldier 76 likes to have sex with. He's a cartoon character. I mean, that's great. But if you're going to tell us who he has sex with, at least tell us who Tracer fucks. We want to know the sexual bedroom orientation and action of every digital character that is known to exist past, present, and future going forward. Holy shit, the only thing that anyone really needs to know in a game is who the characters in the game like to have sex with. That's a game in itself. Leisure Suit Larry, he was a groundbreaker of a game, okay? The point is that no one needs to know any of that shit. So when game studios want to do a recurring film strip about characters that no one cares about aspects of characters that they've made known that, here's where all that stuff before was, shouldn't have been made known. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, who cares who a trash can robot has sex with or identifies as? Who cares what a digital pixelated whatevers? In games like this, where it's not a story, where it's not The Last of Us 2, not, let's phrase this delicately. The character that got it totally from behind. That's pretty delicate. All right, you got these external aspects and these additional things that just aren't needed. Aren't needed to be part of, and we don't even argue from like a rated M for mature aspect. Because like, okay, you want to have a sex of the scene or something in a game like your Cyberpunk. At least Cyberpunk did it artistically to where, if you were in the car and that one person in your party was like, hey, want to get it on? And you're like, digitally, fuck yeah, I do. Then, you could partake in that. Or, say you got any of your games with the adult thematic elements and stuff. Your Baldur's of the Gate of the Three. Okay, stuff like that. There's aspects of it that you can have in a mature setting or environment or dynamic. All right? Inherently, yeah, Concord more like Concord. Yeah, actually. Yeah, all Joey's idea. Absolutely, it was Joey's idea. Oh, jeez. Sick. Big JC. Joey's ideas are disgusting. They permeate unnecessarily throughout all aspects of humanity and the world. Unfortunately, the universe. Once he puts it out in the ether, it's out there. And him being, who he is, it's out there every time he breathes in and breathes out. Games like Concord, all right, with their focus on shit no one cares about in the game that shouldn't matter in the game, orientation, gender, whatever, okay? It doesn't matter. You're a dude with a gun, you're a robot with a gun, you're a whatever, you're a monster with a gun. No, what if it's a bow and arrow? Okay, whatever. You got that aspect. It doesn't matter. You have a story element aspect of characters that no one's familiar with, no one cares about, no one gives a shit about, that you're wanting to pay someone a weekly, from what we remember, it was a weekly supposedly supposed to be dropped, almost like, hey, if South Park could do it, we could do it. There's a difference between South Park putting out a weekly show and Concord putting out a weekly shitty anime with characters no one gives a fuck about. South Park is, how do you say, good. You might not like it. You might argue that it's intolerable, that it's hateful, that it's spiteful, that it hurts feelings, this, that, the other. But it's good. No, it's not. I hate it. Okay, well, you hate it, but it's good. Well, then Concord's good. Well, you go tell that to people then and see if they believe you. I guarantee you when we tell people Concord sucks, they probably believe us a little more. Hey, Concord sucks. We haven't even played it. Oh, you son of a bitch. Whatever. The point is that you're, wanting a recurring weekly, drop of a script and a video and a cartoon that no one cares about. And you could argue, okay, well, you have to start somewhere. You have to start with nothing, and you will gain that following. You would garner that following. Yeah. How many players did the player base of Concord start with? How many are there today? Aw, son of a bitch, they're bringing it back. Well, that's what we hear. That's what we hear, and that's why we're excited for Concord 2 to not play that as well. Let's get into these ones of comments coming in. As Chatty Coffee Crew, we're all about the ones of comments. They put the cart before the horse. They absolutely did. And, believe you me, Joey put the horse before himself and got arrested in 14 states in doing such. You have to create great entertainment staff's fan base before you start. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And even say a nightly talk show host or a pilot episode rolls out there's a difference in a pilot episode on TV coming out, okay, with nuns of fans, with no one knowing about it, all right? Because ideas like that have to start from an inorganic matter and just kind of go through and organically find a following and stuff like that. Find a reason for the executives to pick up the show for another season, to pick up 6 more episodes after a pilot, to see how it fares, to see if that fan base will grow, thrive, or do. Games like Concord, they put out, and they affixate and tie a weekly show to that obviously someone's not making for free in theory, unless they are just super passionate about making a cartoon based on video game characters in a video game universe on a new intellectual property that Sony dropped that no one wanted shit to do with. You're not going to trick people into following that show, probably. Now, we might be able to trick people into following something like this show merely by showing up, okay? And then they forget what they're doing in the morning. They're groggy. They roll out of bed like, live stream or something like that. And they click on it and such, and they're just like, whoops. And they're like brushing their teeth and whatever else. They're like, I left that playing. See, we can trick all sorts of folks, but that's tricking them once, okay? We get them once. Concord wanted to trick everyone into playing that game as a recurring player base. And on top of that, Concord and Sony and PlayStation expected you to dive into, in your free time that was offered, and the free time that you do have when you're not playing games, when you're not working, when you're not accidentally checking out crap like this, okay? They wanted you to dive into more backstory and lore and more back information about characters you knew nothing about, didn't care to know anything about, and wanted nothing to do with. Okay? Companies can't expect a game to thrive and continue and have a recurring player base if there's nothing to bring them there. And for them to throw even more money at a weekly recurring anime story surrounding a new intellectual property where people don't know the characters, aren't familiar with them, have heard negative about it, have heard good about it. You're asking a lot of their free time, okay? Because they're going to have to play the game and like the game to even have an interest in watching the show or caring about the show or following the characters that are in the show, or caring enough about the backstory. And then what about next season in Concord when a new hero gets released that fucks up another character that's already in the game and makes them shitty? And then you got some story tied to it and someone doesn't even like that character anymore because the new character that comes out, makes them crappy. Well, they'll balance it. Well, sure, they'll balance it. Just like they were going to release a weekly iteration, just like every game's going to balance it. Every game's going to patch itself after it's released in an incomplete state. Every game's going to have a day one download of multiple iterations of gigabytes because it wasn't ready to be released when it was released. Where's the line? Watching the show. Oh, agreed, but we got ones of comments and this much coffee. Let's see what we missed. Fans would rather have all that money and effort put in the game. Absolutely. Fans would rather have Big JC spoken like a gaming professional. Okay? And we thought we were the only ones. Huh. Boy, were we wrong. You're the worst. Well, whatever. We're whatever. Spoken, yeah. Absolutely true. We would much rather them take the money they would pay somebody, okay, whether they're good at their craft or art or not, we would rather them take that money and put it into the game itself, put it into a new intellectual property, put it into, hell, a separate series or movie itself that's not tied to a video game. If this person's such a great storyteller, artist, crafter, anime artist, and you want to work with them, don't tie them to a video game that relies on a new player base and a new release and a recurring player base, and that player base to not only recurringly give a shit about the game that you want them to play, but then take it a step further, go into their more free time, okay, unless everyone's free time is just playing games and doing what Concord developers want them to. And the marketing executives at Sony, they're like, oh, that's a great idea. They'll play the game. And then when their fingers get tired, they'll watch the shows because the game's so awesome. How's that game coming? I don't know. We're not overseeing development. We're talking about this fucking anime we're putting out, and we're talking about the $200 of marketing we want to sink in this motherfucker, before that shit's even released. Oh, don't forget to do sexual orientation backstories before anyone touches the game. Great idea. We don't care who the trash can fucks. We know Joey fucks everything. That's all you need to know in this world. Joey is crazy. Stay away from Joey. Done. You don't need an orientation of anyone. That's their business. But that's just our opinion. And while it's right and correct, some people might think it's not. They're wrong and incorrect. Hey, and that makes us right and correct, obviously. It comes full circle. But yes, the money would do far better off going towards the game and the development of the game and all aspects of the game rather than wishful thinkings that should come to fruition after a game has been around and garnered a player base. Let's talk about a little game called Warframe. Warframe's been around for a minute. Any fans? We like it. We didn't get totally involved in it. It's an ongoing experience. It's free to play. You could shell out some stuff. Surely you should support some stuff in games like that because those developers there that made Warframe, that game is crafted with love, attention to detail, and it just gets better and better as they went further and further through their life cycle of it, developing it. You take a game like that, hire your storytelling anime artist that you hired for Concord to make a weekly Warframe show that comes out. I guarantee you, if you made it any kind of Gundam-esque elements and stuff tied into it, you would probably garner a fairly decent show that could morph into a fairly decent fan base for a show tied into a video game and things like that. The only difference is, like we said, you can take shows, base them off of games, take movies, base them off of games. When you produce them coincidentally and you put them in the same realm of having them put out at the same time and developed at the same way and try and follow the same storylines and stuff, when you're focusing on three elements of a braid, which needs to braid into one element, an element of the financial base that will save it, okay? The weekly shows, they're tied to the game. All the other outside aspects and elements of stuff, they're tied to the game. If the game doesn't do well, if the game shits the bed, if the game fails, guess what? Every single thing that you want aspirationally to take on and do and achieve, you're not going to be able to because you were short-sighted in what mattered most. And that's an entire, kind of basis of what happened with Concord. They were short-sighted in the release of that game. They did not plan that out well. They might have thought they had a great, game plan, hitting the ground running, but it was a failure, complete and epic failure. Let's see. Boggles the mind when gaming companies who compete with Rockstar's GTA release such bad games. Yeah, excellent. Excellent point. And, a lot of that, too, just comes down to a studio and a developer's mentality. Some of them, you look at, Electronic Arts. Those yearly iterations of Madden, copy-pasted, watch the Angry of the Joe, he'll set you straight on it. They're the same game. And they're released iteration after iteration. They should have stopped releasing iteration after iteration of Madden, stuck with updates and roster changes. Okay? Charge people like $10, $15 if you wanted modern rosters, modern updates, stuff like that. Instead, every year, they ask players to shell out full-price game admission. Maybe a couple of them have hit Game Pass now with a couple of EA releases. Not all of them, but some of them. Okay? Sure. So there's some avenues to play them without additional purchase there. But with all the monetization, okay, all of the sports cards that you buy to get players to play in the game, come on, man. Hey, that's a football term thing. That's ridiculous. Like, paying to get digital cards of digital players to play in your digital game, those fucking sports packs, that shit's a fucking ripoff. That shit's absurd. That's our opinion on it. I know that there's a lot of people shell out money on that shit, but I mean, would you rather there just be like a roster of players you could buy and it not be randomized? If you're going to buy them inherently in general anyway, wouldn't you rather just build your team like it was a free market agency anyway? Like, hey, you want a Jerry Rice card on your all-star team? It costs $8 instead of buy a pack for $4 and maybe he's in there. I don't know. That's our thoughts on it. We would way rather have like an online marketplace with the actual players if you want to build your team that way. I'm tired of buying these packs and getting these C and D players. I need my A's and B's. What is this, school? Yeah, the school of spending money on video games. And there's ways that game companies suck it all out. But yeah, companies that shit out games like Madden, they don't care. They're all about whatever their next injection of cash into the company is going to be. All right? Games like Grand Theft Auto, those studios have such a passion that is associated with the company from externally outside amongst the gaming community that it's detrimental to such degrees when they fail. And that probably puts a lot of weights on their shoulders to maintain that level of excellency. You get a game at Rockstar, or you get a job at Rockstar, you know, and you're like, oh, wow, working at Rockstar, I'm working on Grand Theft Auto. You know it's going to be epic. You know you're going to put your best foot forward. If you're working at Electronic Arts and you got management bringing down, you know, and they're like, hey, the next season of football starting, shit out of game. Fuck these people. Put some sports packs in that shit. I want to buy a new Lamborghini this year. Okay, executive marketing guy, yes. All right, let me copy paste the shit. I'm done, sir. Excellent. I can go on vacation earlier and don't have to come into the office to make this gosh darn game for the next 6 months. Everyone gets the 6 months off. Yay! Yay! We'll see you next year to copy and paste the exact same shit and put a new character on the title and the cover. And we'll attach those motion capture balls to someone's, you know, butt crack and watch how it jiggles. This one has butt crack jiggling mechanics on this one. Wow! That's the newest Madden with butt crack jiggling mechanics. Joey's all about it. He already pre-ordered 18 copies after he bought 18 more outright. Boggles the mind. Yeah, that's crazy stuff. But, you know, game companies in general, there's stuff that they could focus on that would tie way more into the games and way more into the need for these games to be around. Way more desire for them to stay around after they're, you know, inceptualized and created, instead of just going by the way of the wayside. Battleborns, Concords, you know, never took off. Battleborn set a precedent of the worst game ever. It's funny. That is hilarious. In the modern day, where the gaming industry is so accepted and accounts for more revenue than the music industry or Hollywood, or music and Hollywood combined from what we hear, that's insane. You did that bad in that massively big of an environment with one of the most major platform providers on a first-party studio release in current gaming dynamics where developers, and this isn't a knock on developers, but developers are a dime a dozen, okay? They're not, but they are, but they're not. What the fuck are you thinking? Like, with every aspect of Concord, who's managing that studio? Who's managing that shit? Whose idea was it to even release that game in the first place? They should be hiding, if they're not already shit can fired. Like, it's insane. Those were some very poor decisions that were made surrounding that. Now, we don't want to just kick the can at them and say, hey, you guys made a bad decision. Game companies do it all the time. Look at the release of Cyberpunk on the PS4 and the Xbox, okay? They should have gone back on their word, only released it on PC, maybe the Series X and PS5. That's it. And then eventually either scrapped it altogether on those older console generations or brought it to fruition. Now, out on the Switch and 2 of the whatever, you can rock it and stuff. Like, they've constantly shown the love and dedication to it. That's another thing sets studios like that apart from the Electronic Arts. And it puts them in the category with the Grand Theft Auto. Because even with them botching the release, they knew they had to buckle down and fix that shit. And they did. Someone told us the other day in the chat of the ones of a time coming in that it is back on their top 3 games ever. Cyberpunk. And with how their release was, how they had a lot of negative press about them on that release, they showed it the love and dedication. It's probably a good thing they didn't assign half the team to create a weekly anime out the gate and put it out every week, because when people weren't playing Cyberpunk, when people were pissed off with Cyberpunk, I guarantee you it would have to be something extremely special to allow that kind of iteration to take off with how everyone's sentiments were towards that game at that time. Because there were some very unhappy people with Cyberpunk and with the game studio and everything like that. All hands involved. Now it stems from management, obviously, and their decision to not push it back again. No, we'll get raked over the coals. Well, you probably should have taken that raking over the coals than some of the other ones. But whatever. Anyhow, we'll start chugging. If you have any questions for your best worst internet celebrity, let them come in now. Yeah, good old Monday. That's what today is, if you're watching this on Monday. Otherwise, it's not. And, boy, are you late for work. This was Monday's episode. Yeah, Concord, man. What a crazy release. What a crazy time to be a gamer. What a crazy time to be around to witness stuff like that, like we outlined, with how the gaming apparatus is geared, set up, and designed, with having every silver Concord spoon put in your mouth to make decisions that inherently just make it crappy. Look how crappy their case is, too. Look how boring that shit is. They don't even have pictures of the game. Because they're like, you don't need the fucking disc. We're done with discs. Here, you just need to download this digital shit and watch our shitty movies. Look how boring their fucking case is. It's all backwards. I can't read it. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. There's nothing to fucking read that matters. The point is that it's super, super boring. Flavor sipping on. Excellent. A question! A French vanilla creamer in a regular coffee. Great value, French vanilla creamer. Yes, it's one of our go-tos because it's great value, expensive, and it flavors our coffee, and it's not plain. So, we get it on a good occasion. But yes, thank you for your ones of questions. Commence with any ones of more you might have. Now's your time to interact with the internet celebrity of the us. You're a crappy one. Yes, we know. If you're just joining us now, we already talked crap on Concord. We can talk more. Concord's bad. It's not good. Concord 2's coming out. This time they're serious. And when Concord 2 hits the market, this time, they're not going to make the same mistake they did last time. In delaying us knowing who these characters in this digital game like to have sex with. Hopefully, right out of the gate, they have a new adults-only anime where all the characters have sex with each other over and over again. And with some of the crazy alien aspects of characters and robotics and such in this game, the possibilities are endless. I'll bet it'll even potentially be having the chance to remain legal in at least 28 states. Don't worry about Arkansas, They don't care about that stuff there. In fact, they'll probably make it there. Favorite things about Concord. Well, our favorite things about Concord was all of the failures surrounding it. And you might be saying, oh, that's so negative as a gamer to want to watch the failings of a entity and something that adds to the community and gives players an option to go to or anything like that. It's like, well, yeah, sure, but it was funny as hell. It was hilarious. The content surrounding Concord, the aspects of the release around Concord, their desires and hopes and dreams at the studio were the most clouded, misaligned, judgmental calls we could ever fathom seeing a gaming company make. Hiring an animation artist to make a weekly recurring series. How much shit does that cost? Continuing the wanting to do a massive online hero shooter. We're going to do it different. We're going to do it better than these other 18 versions out there. Well, way to go. Yeah, our most favorite thing about Concord was the release and the subsequent failings of it because it was hilarious. And like we said, that's not the most positive outlook on it. But we can remain positive now that Concord 2 is coming out, even if it's the same first Concord. It's Concord 2, because they pulled it. So technically, it's Concord 2. That shit's hilarious. So now they're making a part 2 to a part 1 that doesn't exist. And so help us, we will find it extremely hilarious if they try and regurgitate the exact same game plan once again. If they're like, okay, it's been long enough, no one will remember. Maybe we take out the part of who this robot has sex with, okay? Maybe we eliminate that from the game and see if we can squeak by and utilize that silver spoon that was placed in our mouth, being on a first-party platform release on one of the major first-party platforms, okay, that can garner an audience immediately out of the gate upon release. So help us, if they attach another weekly animated as shit, if they... the fact they're releasing it in general is hilarious already. Okay, and we don't even know if it's true, but it's conjecture, and we've seen now 2-3 different videos of people talking about it. So it's like, bandwagon, wait! We need ones of viewers! We're trying to get YouTube's money, motherfucker! We don't keep it behind a paywall! Slow that shit down! Stop beating the dead horse! Let us get on the cart! They're tumbling off our cliff. Concord, wow! Wow, Concord, wow! They're having a fucking blast! Whoopsie, that could have been bad. They're having a blast, tumbling off the cliff and shit, worshiping Concord all the way down. All right, it's definitely got the potential to be hilarious, and we're excited to once again be reaping in the beauty that is hilariousness. So, there you go. Ugh. It'll be something to tell for sure. That's just water. Don't worry about it. Favorite coffee and creamer. Excellent. Well, our favorite coffee has changed over the years. This isn't coffee. This is just water. We just needed to wet our whistle. Our most favorite coffee would have to be eggnog latte. Okay, now, here's where the problem is with that. Starbucks pulled the eggnog latte about 5 years ago. So, fuck Starbucks, and they need to bring that shit back. And fuck you, Starbucks, unless you bring that shit back, I don't want your shitty coffee. So, the other thing that we liked was eggnog creamer. It's like, this fucker likes a lot of eggnog. Don't worry about it. We're crazy like that. We'll bathe in eggnog. Yeah, we probably fucking would. No, we wouldn't. That sounds gross. I don't know. We haven't tried it, so we don't want to knock it. But in the same realm, we haven't tried Concord, and we knocked that. But that's just hilarious. And fuck Concord. So, We probably wouldn't bathe in eggnog, because that does sound disgusting, but we definitely like drinking it, and eggnog creamer was our favorite. But, lo and behold, what does Nescafe decide to do about 7, 8 years ago? They stopped making fucking eggnog creamer! Those sons of bitches. So, not only did these companies make us grow to like eggnog creamer, they ripped it out from right under us! Right when we began to love it! We used to go and buy 5 bottles of eggnog creamer at the same time. True fucking story. Or more. We would clear fucking stores out. Once a year release, motherfuckers! Same thing, Starbucks. They would make eggnog lattes like, oh, these are fucking delicious, here you go. Why don't you become a customer? It's like, well, we don't want to, but okay. Eggnog lattes are delicious. So we got one. And then we were like, oh, delicious, we love it. Then we went back next fall, and we're like, hey, where's your eggnog lattes? They're like, we don't make it anymore. Try some chai bullshit. I'm like, why don't you try finding a new fucking customer? Okay, one chai bullshit, please. Blah, disgusting! Find a new customer. Fucking gone. So, that was our favorite. Now we just pretty much, we like coffee in the mornings. We've gone through our phases of dark roast being our preference, a little bit of light roasts. Now we find ourselves back in kind of the medium roast blend. Okay, we can go medium dark, medium light, but around mediums where we kind of kick it and stay. But we have had our years of a time where we were strictly dark roast, and probably a year or two at a time when we were strictly light roast. But as long as it's coffee, as long as it's okay, we'll drink it. And we do prefer creamer in our coffee, yes. Oh, you bitch. So what? That's how we like to drink it. Anyhow, coffee from Catholic monks in South America is great. Yeah, so there's a lot of coffees or whatever, especially, yeah, South America and, some other places and whatnot, that just make some amazing coffee blends. Like, I don't even know how they're possibly able to do it. We should ask Jeremy of the Quartering how he makes his delicious coffee blends. Now, we haven't had his delicious coffee blends. He says they're delicious, but he hasn't given us any for free, so, oh well. But yes, so we've had a couple iterations, couple versions of coffees that we've gone through. Our most favorite was, and probably will always be, eggnog latte, but we haven't had one of those in probably, over 5 years now. And it's unfortunate. Whenever Starbucks pulled it, could have been 4 years ago, but it feels like 5. You go that long without eggnog latte, they start blending and running together. Community House blend and White Monsters. Yeah, gotcha. All right, so, we do Community House on occasion. Yeah, the red bag. Yep, no, we've definitely had our time with that. Our most favorite coffee nowadays, believe it or not, kind of, it changes, because we don't necessarily have a favorite brand that we're loyal to. There was one point in time where for a couple years, we were like, Maxwell House, and Folgers, McCafe. Now, we're in the realm of enjoying coffee to the degree that we do, because we'll even drink the flavored coffees. Not all of them are home run successes for us, but we don't mind trying them. Okay, all the different flavored blends. There's even an eggnog blend flavored ground roast, which is still available on occasion, that you can find available on occasion. But it's not the eggnog latte from Starbucks, which obviously is blended with eggnog and stuff like that. And it's not the eggnog creamer, which obviously is a creamer based on something that goes in the coffee, which is flavored however you want it to be flavored, because it's supposed to flavor it more so as such. Okay? So, there is still eggnog iterations and versions of coffee grounds that become available, which is phenomenal, but, those can be hit or miss on their notes and their tastes and things of that nature. We'd give any of them a try, surely, but we're not going to pay $13 for a little fucking bag. Okay? So, to this day now, as of the last probably 5-6 months, our most favorite coffee is whatever the grocery store has on sale that week. So, say we get a container of coffee and it lasts us for a week or two, okay? When it's coffee time, We just go to the aisle and see what's on sale. We don't have any brand loyalty. We just look for something that's on sale. So if it says regularly $10 and now it's only $5.99, hell yeah. We'll take your about to expired coffee. Delicious. And that's what we do. So we have gone between different blends of Dunkin's coffee. I think we got a mint coffee in there from Dunkin' right now. We got a Folgers right now. We always try and keep a decaf on hand for those late night runs when, we either want a half and half caffeinated blend and or on occasion, very rare occasion, a full decaffeinated blend, which, whatever, okay? And I think the decaffeinated blend we got right now is a Starbucks blend that was on sale, okay? Caribou coffee's very good. We enjoy that when it's on sale because that shit's kind of expensive, man. $12, $13 for a little bag. When it's on sale, you get it for $6 or $7. So, you can find the cheap coffee out there. You just gotta wait for it to be on sale. Or something, I don't know. Or if you have brand loyalty, you're going to buy it no matter what. So, there you go. But yeah. What am I... No. You're talking about just like the energy drink or coffee. The White Monster there. It does not sound familiar. I can't say that we did. Obviously Monster energy drinks and stuff like that. But are you talking about the white can of Monster? We haven't had one of those as well. We've seen those, but no, never, picked them up. We stopped, man. We would get energy drinks a lot back when, at certain career points, when we were doing certain jobs and or running certain lifestyles. We haven't necessarily had a full energy drink in a good minute. That's probably why we're so depleted of energy all the fucking time. But no, there were cases and times in our past or whatever where we would get one in between working a shift out job 1 going to job 2, or working a shift at job 2 going to job 3, or going to school in the morning at 8 a.m. shift after coming off of an overnight stocking shift. Okay, get off work at fucking 7 a.m., grab a quick little bite to eat, and then 8 a.m. class, fucking back to work at 3:30 in the afternoon, p.m., so we've seen them on there, but we've never, inherently, dedicated our current, drink routine or anything to it, as... nowadays, if we were going to go and be in those scenarios, we'll grab just a soda pop or something like that out of the, thing. Not that we're opposed to it, but usually the soda's $1 cheaper than those Monster drinks too. So a lot of times, it's oh, hey, an Arizona tea that's still, $1 or a $2.99 Monster energy drink. And it's well, I'm not getting arrested again, so I guess I'm going to spend the $1 I have. Whatever. No, we're just joking, but still. Crazy. Recommended as the best list tasting energy drink. Got some discovered. House. Decrease durations. Decrease the duration and severity of migraines, so keep a few on hand. Well, hey, that's great. Different stuff works for different folks, and that's fantastic to find anything that does with that, and next time I have a headache or migraine, I might give that a try. Of course, we can't provide any medical advice or confirm that any of those aspects of a claim like that is substantiated and true, because we are not doctors, and for legal reasons, we would not point anyone in the direction of saying that inherently is a correct nutritional statement that you should adhere to and live by nutritionally, as all of those decisions require you and your doctor and or nutritionalist. Hold on. Management's calling. What do you want? We're trying to cover the legal shit. Okay, we got most of it? All right, we're clear, right? We're not going to get, fucking sued for telling people dumb shit, right? Okay, all right, good. All right. So everyone has to make their own choices, but we will keep that in mind, because there has been one or two, where, we think we need a jolt of something, to help us out, whether it's caffeine or something. So, all right, best tasting and can help decrease duration, severity, and we can totally see something like that, and we do appreciate that tidbit of unsubstantiated fact that works for individuals on an individual level, and they have to make their own decision for it if it does that. So, if the White Monster energy drink can decrease the, severity or duration of a headache, which we're not saying that it does, okay, it might have worked for other people in that realm of regard, but we are not even sure that Monster markets their product like that in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so consult your doctor nutritionist. But that sounds amazing, and we will keep that in mind, absolutely. Thanks for the information. No, it's always good to have little tricks of the trade, man, to be able to do stuff. Usually, you pop in, for us, Motrin or a Tylenol or something like that. Even stuff like that, you still got to wait a good bit. But a lot of times it can be a sleep-deprived headache, man, a caffeine-deprived headache if you're on coffee as much as we are, unfortunately. Absolutely. Okay, so all ones of you watching this is a very important point that the Big JC, okay, this cannot be appreciated enough, and you all will be thanking him later. Do not, and I repeat, do not, under any circumstances, consume, ingest, try, touch, facilitate in any way, shape, or form anything that is recommended and or provided in a physical form by Joey. That's a no-y. If it's from Joey, that's a no-y. You remember that phrase. It could save your life one day. But thank you for, yes, absolutely. A lot of times people talk about what people should do to help with this or to help with that or to set their diet in a certain direction or way. And they never think of the simple things that they need to avoid, like Joey, at all costs. Okay, we guarantee you, Joey was parading around the studios being like, oh, I'm going to work on this code. Yeah, I'm going to work on this code. Yeah. Oh, he was having his way with this game. He's like, let's make an anime movie. Yeah, weekly occurrence. Yeah. I'm a code typer. Yeah. You know what he code typed? He code typed that studio all the way to virtual bankruptcy. He almost shut PlayStation Studios down single-handedly with his ideas and takes. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. That's right. That's the next shirt we're making. Fucking hell. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. We have our Asmon Gold shirt here for sale. We call it the Asmon Gold shirt because it costs $13,000. It's a one-of-a-kind. Yes. It's only been worn once, but it still has the new tag on it. See? That way we trick you into thinking it's brand new. But when you have celebrities stink like us on it, it's like, how could you not want to tell Asmon Gold to spend $13,000 on this shit? And as soon as we get his money, obviously, we'll make some more shirts. And they'll say, if it's from Joey, it's a no-y, or something like that. And we'll still have the Joey's milk on the back, because that shit's funny. Look, they come in all ones of sizes. We can't see it. Your camera sucks. Well, whatever. Here, we'll turn the other way. No, and it doesn't help. Well, I can't do anything about that. You can end the stream. Well, whatever. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. Absolutely. If you do contact anything from Joey, get medical attention ASAP. Absolutely, yes. We don't tell anyone to seek medical advice willy-nilly, and, that's a decision that you and your doctor have to make. But we can tell you this. Once again, JC coming with the facts today. I see someone took someone's awake. Someone's on their second cup of coffee. We've had our first and had to refill it with some water to keep us wet our whistle. That's not coffee. The point is that, yeah, not only if it's from Joey, it's a no-y, But yeah, you contact or contract anything from Joey, you had better seek some sort of attention, professional-wise, medical-wise, or even legal, okay? Or from a law enforcement officer sometimes. Joey has the capacity and tendency to ruin all elements and aspects of your life, and they could be ruined and destroyed before you even know that they began to be ruined or destroyed, and it's pretty crazy. Hold on, management's calling again. Jeez, do you think they know how to run the show better than us? What do you want? We're doing the show. What do you mean it's supposed to be about Concord 2? Yeah, well, you don't want to have a disclaimer and a warning about Joey? Well, that's what I thought. So maybe let us do our fucking job and stop interrupting us. Thank you. God, management. Always thinking they know better. Like, I run the place. Listen to me. Like, if we did that, we'd have to work. Jeez. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. You contract it from Joey, you better go-y. ASAP. So, yes. But, okay, manage of the mint. The episode's about Concord. So it seems like everything that went wrong with Concord is Joey-esque related. And with it being Joey-esque related, you want to avoid it at all costs. So now when they roll out with Concord 2, which is Concord 1, but it's Concord 2 because they pulled Concord 1 completely, so it's Concord 2. You got to just think to yourself, like, is this a Joey or is this a Noe? It's like if it is a Joey, it is a Noe. So you know right off the bat that it is. It all makes sense. So, yeah. If it's from Joey, it's a Noe. Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it hilarious, but it can be life-saving. I'm reminded of a time that we were in Boy Scouts, and thankfully, Joey was not in our troop. If he was, we would have had to change troops and move and change troops. The point is he wasn't in our troop. So thankfully that didn't have to happen. But when we were in Boy Scouts, there was one time someone brought a picture of Joey on a camping trip. And that alone caused complete chaos. There was no capture the flag that night. There was no manhunt that night. No kick up the can. No. Everyone was afraid, crying in their tents like little Boy Scout babies. Because someone thought it would be a good, funny idea to impart Joey on a camping trip. You know, you might think that the boys grow up to be men in those situations and scenarios. But we'll tell you this, on that camping trip, those Boy Scouts, they remained boys. And innocently didn't become men. They were forced to become a mixture of the two. I don't know. Then eventually they grew up and finished growing up and shit. It doesn't matter. Joey's disgusting. So, anyhow, serious public service announcement that should be broadcast worldwide. Absolutely. And you know, as soon as Asmongold realizes that his shirt's here for sale and he hasn't bought it for $13,000 yet because he's rich, you know, pick someone else. I don't know. This is just the first thing that came to mind today. We like his content more than ours. Anyhow, so do we. Well, he must be not streaming now. The point is that after he acquires that, you know, we can get out there spreading the more worldwide message. And, I mean, the minute Asman acquires that, his shirt we made for him, okay? Yes, he didn't ask for it. He doesn't necessarily want it. It probably doesn't even fucking fit him. But let's be honest, just like everything here, okay, it's kind of crap. He could wad it up and throw it on the floor in his house and it'll fucking blend in. So, you know, we're joking, baby. We know you clean that shit up sometime, apparently. But, I mean, all those little cartoons that come out showing you and depicting you surely have to be true. I don't know. Concord made cartoons. So do other people. It doesn't matter. We're just joking around. Yes, but that lesson saved those scouts' lives. Well, we like to think that if we weren't on that camping trip, okay, if we didn't become aware that someone had, to the detriment of the entire camp out, pursued bringing such an egregious, societal upheaving, controversial element to that environment, such as just even that picture of Joey. I mean, you could have sworn a nuclear bomb went off in the campsite. The tears. We can't get the tears out of our head. There shouldn't have been blood, but there was. The scouts didn't come out that next morning for breakfast until lunchtime. You know how bad people were holding in their piss that morning? I'll never forget tent 14. Yes, tent 14 smelled like urine in the morning. Those poor tenderfoot scouts, they had to clean it out. The senior patrol leaders didn't want anything to do with it. No, they had their own issues. They were in their own shell-shocked state. It was atrocious. It was horrible. Something we don't like living through. Thanks for bringing it up. Anyhow, yes, avoid Joey. But yeah, you're going to want to avoid that stuff at all cost. But kind of like what people did with Concord. They avoided it at all costs. And the developers were like, hey, you know what people need? Bob, I got an idea. Okay, Joey, what is it? I don't know why we hired you. You shouldn't have. All right, Joey, what's your idea? Let's remake Concord and put it back out. Oh, Joey, as long as you don't look at me or talk to me like that again, yeah, just go to the other wing of the building and fucking do whatever you do. Really? Everything that we do, we can do it? Probably not, but fucking just stay away from me. I regret hiring you. No, you don't. Yes, I do. And then they fucking, lock down that wing and don't let them out. And what does that wing produce? Putting Concord back the fuck out. So, great job. And now it's not out, and we haven't even substantiated or confirmed that it's coming back out. But, holy shit, the couple content creators that we've talked to, no one talks to us. The couple content creators that we've seen talking about Concord of the Two, it has been just the insanest of conversations to even begin being in the parameters of realm of conversation. Like, holy shit, that'd be like Atari being like, hey, let's dig up those old ET games and put those back out. Surely, we just probably did something wrong. Joey says we have another shot at this thing. I say we take it. We're only $400 million in. What's another $200 million, right? This shit's gonna be fucking hilarious. Go ahead, drop your Concord 2, Concord 1. Well, which one is it? It's both. It's Concord 2. Concord 2 is Concord 1. Oh, yeah? Yeah. We have maracas. So, obviously, we're right. So, there you go. Yeah, we like to think that the lesson saved scouts' lives that day. But what can't be saved is the fact that Joey's still out there, okay? Joey's still leaving his mark on, obviously, the gaming industry, or else why would there be talk of another iteration of Concord coming out, which is Concord 2, okay, even if they call it Concord 1. But Joey's out there working his, we don't want to call it magic. We'll call it working his evil ways. Okay, that's the easiest way to put it, safest way to put it, really. You know, lock your doors at night, lock your windows. You got to be safe out there, and the safest way to be is staying Joey free. Hey, hands down. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. Okay? Now, there's all sorts of additional things that we could try and prepare you for today and everything like that, but we ran out of coffee a minute ago, and now we're just kind of ready to go get more and stuff. So we don't need your subscription. We need your money. So feel free to downvote the shit out of this and give us a buck. Get off our lawn!